Mapayapang hapon, Pilipinas! Ito po ang inyong balerina ng bayan, si Lisa Macuja Elizalde, na bumabati sa lahat ng nakikinig sa DZRH Radio at sa mga nanonood sa DZRH TV, lalo na sa ating mga kasamahang alagad ng sining at kultura sa buong bansa. In the world of art and literature, talent alone is not enough. You need perseverance, courage, and faith in your own voice. Maraming artists at writers ang dumadaan sa matinding pagsubok. May mga pintuang nagsasara, may panahong tila walang nakikinig, at may mga sandaling nagdududa sila kung dapat pa silang magpatuloy. But true success isn't just about getting a foot in the door, it's about having the strength to push that door open again, no matter how many times it closes. Ngayong Women's Month, ipinagdiriwang natin ang mga Filipina artists who are not just creators but are also fighters for their space in the world. Minsan, ang pinakamahirap na bahagi ng isang creative journey ay hindi kung paano magsimula, kundi paano ang magsimulang muli, lalo na pagkatapos ng kabiguan. But every setback comes with a lesson. And every comeback tells a new story. Sa hapong ito, samahan ninyo kami sa kalahating oras ng masayang kwentuhan kasama ang isang Filipina novelist who continues to write not just stories, but her own destiny. International best-selling author, Samantha Sotto Yambao.
Programang hatid ay sining at kulturang para sa lahat. Magbabalik ang Art to Art.
Tinesting, sinuri, siniyasan. Ang resulta? Super effective ang Shield sa pagpatay ng bakterya at virus. Shield Antibacterial Soap. Believe ang mga eksperto sa Philippine Nurses Association. At si Mami.
Tiwala ako sa Shield.
Shield Antibacterial Soap. Napatunayang mabisa. Ang mga nurse, tiwala.
Hello, Washi! Laundry day na naman!
Yay! Anong meron?
Mancha ng chocolate, putik, may libag pa.
Kaya natin yan! With Pride Washing Machine Detergent, may triple stain-away formula. Tanggal ang makapit, madikit, at malupit na dumit mancha. Kaya easy-easy ang labada.
Mula noon hanggang ngayon.
All you need is pride. All you need is pride. ACS.
Usapang sining at kultura para sa lahat. Art to Art.
Nandito pa rin tayo sa Art to Art at kasama natin sa hapong ito ang international best-selling author na si Samantha Sotto Yambao. Magandang hapon, Samantha.
Hi, thanks for having me again after
Yes, welcome
14
back
years.
to
14
Art
years.
to Art. I know. So it's been 14 years.
Yes, yes.
So in 2011, we were here to talk about your first novel,
Yes.
Before Ever After. Ang dami na nangyari mula noon.
Yeah, to say the least.
pero kung
Yes.
pwede ka bumalik to 2011
Okay.
at bigyan ng advice
Oh.
ang sarili mo
Okay.
tungkol sa publishing industry,
Okay.
what would that be?
Never take anything for granted. Because at that time, I was really, I would say, naive. I didn't know anything about the publishing industry. I really stumbled into this occupation. And when that happened, when I got the book deal, I thought, solved. That's it. I'm in. This is my life from here on, you know, because it was off to a really good start.
Yeah.
And unexpected things happened. I mean, the first one was that I got an agent in New York. I got the book
Parang
deal.
everything came
Yeah,
quite
exactly.
easy, no?
Exactly. Everybody was telling me, oh, it's like a fairy tale. And I said, yeah, definitely. It was like a fairy tale. And I thought that what came with the fairy tale was a happy ending as well. I didn't know marami palang dragons along the way.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, in fact, that brings me to a post that you wrote on Facebook.
Right.
A few months ago, it began with the line, "Some thoughts after 6 books." Sabi mo, hindi laging bukas ang pinto sa publishing at minsan kailangan mo talagang isiksik ang sarili mo para hindi ka maiwanan.
Yes.
Para sa mga hindi nakabasa nung post na yon, can you share with us those thoughts and experiences?
Okay, so my publishing journey started with Before Ever After. And as you said, it was published 2011, and that's when I came on your show. And what happened was that when you have a book deal, a publisher offers you parang an option to buy your next book. So I did write that next book. And it didn't sell. So I said, oh, okay. What now? So I said, okay, fine. Let's put that aside and let's write another book. And that book didn't sell either.
Okay.
So I said, it was beginning to dawn on me like, okay, so nothing is guaranteed, right? I got my foot in the door, but it could just as easily close. So I said, okay.
And this was all with the same publisher?
Yes, with the same publisher. So what happened with the next book, when no one bought it, so it was offered widely because once your option is rejected, you're free to offer it to other publishers. And that's what my agent did. She did shop around the book, but there were no takers. This book was Love and...
This was your fourth book?
No, this was the second
book.
book.
The second
book.
book.
The second.
Okay.
Well, there's a ghost book in between, right? So, Before Ever After, and a book that has donated itself now to my other books.
Okay.
Pieces of itself. So that one never saw the light of day. So that's what we tried to sell as my option. And it didn't sell. So that was shelved. And then I wrote the third book, which is Love and Gravity. So when my agent offered it widely to other publishers in New York, again, it didn't sell. And we were going to go the digital publishing option na lang. So parang what they would do is like, okay, if no big publisher will take it, we'll take it to this small press, and this small press will, publish it without paying you anything. So you just earn through royalties. And I said, okay, well, it's already written, might as well do that.
Yeah.
And on the day that we were supposed to sign the contract for that, my original publisher, Random House, came back and said, teka.
Okay.
Let's take a look at this book again. Okay, we can't forget about it, but we don't see it being a huge commercial success because it's a love story about Isaac Newton.
Okay.
So yeah, I understood it. I understood the reservations, right?
Yes,
so
yes.
they said, we'll take it, but we'll only publish it as an ebook. And you get no advance either.
I
So
see.
it's basically the same that the small press was offering me, but it was still under a bigger publisher. So I said, okay, at least I'm still within the Random House family. So I said, oh, sige, let's do that. There was eventually a print version that was published because there was demand in the Philippines, right? Thank you, kababayans.
Yes. I bought and read that book.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. So that happened, and well, let's just say it didn't, an advance is important because that really will show you how much support your book will get, right? Because if you don't pay a lot for it, then, you're really not motivated to support it or to market it because that costs money. And so there was minimal support, I would say. Like, I made my own book trailer. I did everything myself, basically. With some support, of course, to the level that you can expect a book that was taken in without an advance.
Yeah.
And on its first week in the US, it sold a grand total of 600 copies.
Okay.
So yeah, so I was really humbled by that experience because it was coming from really great success of Before Ever After.
Yeah.
Before Ever After was a bestseller, and I thought like, automatic na yan, di ba? Because that's what you see. You only really see success stories. That's what makes the news. And I thought that's what was going to happen to me. So it didn't. So after Love and Gravity, I wrote another book, A Dream of Trees. And it was more of a passion project for me because it was a big departure from my usual genre of love story with a little bit of history and magical realism. And my agent thought it was too dark.
Okay.
So we didn't even go on submission for that. And so I decided to release it for free. So I learned how to self-publish. I put it on Amazon and gave it away for free for my birthday. And then eventually I did sell it, but it just exists because it was my passion project.
It's an ebook.
It's an ebook,
ebook.
yes. And then I wrote another one after that, but that was the pandemic. And I felt like, okay, with publishing works like super slow, right? So I figured this will never see the light of day. It's gonna take so long before anything happens to this. I felt so helpless. I figured, okay, what can I do to help during the pandemic? I decided to self-publish it with the permission of my agent. And I said, whatever little I make from this, I will donate. And that's what I did. And that was that. And I thought, okay, this is like, the career that kind of like dies a slow death. Like, ooh, and a whisper, like there I go, like maybe I should rethink what I should do next, right? Do I go back to marketing? What do I do? Like I was pushing 50 years old. So I said, maybe this is the end of the road for me in the world of publishing. But the pandemic wasn't ending anytime soon. So I wasn't going to be applying to any jobs anytime soon. And I figured, okay, let's do one last hurrah, one last book. And I wrote Water Moon. And that became a wild ride.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to talk about that later. But before we do, given that journey, what made you persevere? What made you, bakit ka nagpatuloy
Well,
sa pagsusulat?
I think it goes back to the dedication that I wrote in the first book, Before Ever After. I wrote something like, it was to my kids, Nico and Kai, and I said, this is to show you that you can hold your dreams in your hands. And I felt that if I gave up, if I quit, anong mukhang pwede kong iharap sa kanila? Diba? What right would I have to say, don't quit on your dreams? And they were getting at the age, they're in college, and I felt like this is a critical time in their life that I have to show them, like, you may not achieve what you're aiming for, but the most important thing is really to do your best, right? And to not give up. That is the journey of life. It's not your destination. So that's what I wanted to prove, And I also saw this Taylor Swift documentary where she was feeling depressed because she didn't win a Grammy. And what I thought, like, prior to that, I wasn't a Swiftie, but I really liked what she said. She said, okay, I'll just write a better album. And I took that to heart. I go, yeah, I'll just write a better book. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to blame the world for wherever my career has taken me. This is on me, right? Then I just have to write a better book. Not to say that I wrote crappy books before.
Yeah.
I feel that they were all, my teachers. That my books taught me how to write the next book.
Yes.
So, but so at the end of the day, really, it was for my kids to be able to look them in the eye and say, look, I'm not giving up on this. I'm not giving up on my dreams, and you shouldn't either.
Yeah, and you did your best.
Yes,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about your latest novel.
Okay.
Water Moon. Grabe, Sunday Times, USA Today, indie and international bestseller na kaagad. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, iba naman ang naging journey ng librong ito. So, what
Yeah.
makes it special and memorable for you?
Oh gosh, I wish I knew, right? Then I could bottle it and sell it. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
Who knows why some books succeed and some books don't? Because of course, every time I write the book, I write a book, I always feel like this is my best, right? And I guess Water Moon came at the right time. People after the pandemic were really looking for some kind of magic. And I think that's what this book offers, this optimism, this magic, this a bit of escape, but also lessons in life. Because Water Moon is all about, it's an exploration of choices and regret and free will and fate. And I felt like it's all really about, a lot of luck is involved. I'm not going to say that this is me, doing this, right? It's being there at the right time, but you have to show up. You can't be there at the right time if you don't show up, diba? So I think that's what came together with this book. It was the story that people wanted to read at this point in time, and that's why it resonated with a lot of people.
Okay, so briefly and without giving anything away.
Okay.
Too much.
Yes,
Okay. Can
yes.
you share with us the gist of Water Moon?
Okay, that's always the hardest question, right? I always feel like I'm like called for recitation in school. So basically, it's set in an alternate Tokyo. It follows the story of Hana, and she is the owner of this magical pawn shop. Okay, but it's not always a pawn shop. Most times, it's a ramen restaurant. Okay, so when people come to this place, they're coming in for ramen. But those who really have, regrets and choices in their life that are, burdening them, when they open the door, instead of finding this ramen restaurant, they find a pawn shop, this magical pawn shop owned by Hannah.
Okay.
And in this restaurant, in this pawn shop,
Yeah.
you can trade your regrets and your choices. So, so imbes na isanla mo yung TV mo or yung hikaw mo or yung singsing mo, what you are trading are your regrets and choices. And in return, you get some green tea and peace of mind. So you are unburdened. So that's where the story starts. And then it takes you on this grand adventure na into Hannah's world because her father goes missing, a choice is stolen from her pawn shop. So many things happen that she has to team up with this physicist who is, kind enough to help her. And they go on this grand adventure in alternate Japan.
Okay, parang a scientist teams
Yes.
up with like a fantasy.
Yes, exactly.
Very
Exactly.
interesting. I'm going to read this now.
Thank you.
Okay. So, actually, isa sa mga nakakatutuwang bagay tungkol sa Watermoon ay projected na 20 plus translations nito.
Yeah, now close to 30.
Close to 30?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so gaano ka hands-on when they translate your books?
Zero. So this is the business side of it, I guess, the sales pitch and everything that goes into offering it to publishers around the world, that falls to my foreign rights agent. So they shop the book around and other publishers decide whether or not they want to translate it. And then from then on, I'm really hands off. All they get from me is it's nothing. It's like it's a publisher to publisher discussion that's happening.
I see.
So they get the English manuscript and they choose their own translator and then they translate it. And I can't really check it because I don't speak Russian or any of those languages. So it's really on faith. And they really choose really good translators anyway. I will help in the marketing of it. They'll contact me to do some publicity for them, but that's the full extent of it.
I see. But you earn, of course, in royalties.
Oh, yes, I
okay.
do.
All right, so in terms naman of book design,
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
it's a beautifully designed book na
Yes.
kahit yung drawing nasa pages din.
I know.
Oo,
Ngayon ko lang
in between.
nalaman na there's such a thing as sprayed edges. So that's what they're called.
Sprayed edges.
Yes, that's what they're called.
I
So like,
see.
learn something new every day.
So, talk about the design.
Okay.
Sino yung
Okay.
artist?
Yes.
And ikaw ba ang nag-suggest ng
Oh,
design?
I wish
or-
I did, right? But I have no talent in that. So this is the original design. This is the US edition. And the cover was designed by Regina Flath. So she's what you call the book designer. She works for my publisher, Penguin Random House. And she briefs an artist, and her name is Haley Maurice. And Haley was the one who executed Regina's vision for the book. So as you can see here, it's very magical. It's very, I would say, almost anime, You have the two worlds depicted in the cover. But what makes this edition really special is that even if it's just the regular edition, this is literally the edition that you can pick up in bookstores, is that it has a special origami design so that the book is very interactive. And so here, the book jacket, you can fold that into a little origami boat so that Hannah and Kay wind up together on the boat. And the idea behind this is that because the book is all about trading, choices and regrets for something else, they said in order to get this origami boat, you have to give up your book jacket.
That's
So
true.
masakit siya, but you get something in return.
Yeah.
And what they did was, because you'll be giving up your book jacket to make the boat,
Yes.
they really put thought into the actual hardbound
Yes,
design. Because normally this is just plain, right? When you
Yeah.
take the book jacket off, you just see a plain cover. Here, they really spent a lot of time designing this so that even if you take out the book jacket, it'll still look very pretty. And so that's one of the designs lang in the US.
At
And then-
talagang gugustuhin mong bumili ng hardcover. book.
Yes.
Hindi na yung e-book.
Yeah.
Kasi iba na yung experience
Yes,
na to,
it's a really
no?
different
Oo.
experience. And you
Yeah.
have all the instructions for the book here. So that's the story behind the US edition. But as you've seen, there are different kinds of designs. So this is the UK one. It has sprayed edges. And then this is from a subscription box. Illumicrate, very beautiful interior as well. And then even if you look at the end pages, it's different. It's so pretty. Also, if you take out the book jacket, very beautiful design. So it's very well thought out. So whether it's the regular design or the limited editions, you really get, a magical experience with the book. This is another one from Illumicrate. So
Wow.
yeah.
And which book is mine?
This one.
Okay, this is mine.
This is yours. I've signed it as well.
Yay!
Yeah.
This is my book! At marami pa po tayong pag-uusapan kasamang international best-selling author na si Samantha Sotto Yambao. Dito pa rin sa Art to Art, magbabalik po kami pagkatapos na ilang paalala.
Programang hatid ay sining at kulturang para sa lahat. Magbabalik ang Art to Art. Schedule ng mga inaabangang konsyerto. Update sa mga magagandang panoorin sa mga tanghalan at teatro. Narito na ang Art to Art Calendar.
Narito ang ating arts calendar sa musika. Bilang pagdiriwang sa mga kababaihan, itatanghal ang concert na pinamagatang Her and Harmonies, a Women's Month opera event sa March 22, alas 6:30 ng gabi sa Y Space ng Yuchengco Museum, RCBC Plaza, Makati City. Tampok ang mga soprano na sina Crisan Manicantan and Kay Balahadja kasama si Rocky Hendrano sa piano. Sa pelikula, isinasagawa ng Cultural Center of the Philippines ang Lakbay Sine para sa mga Inday, ang online screening ng mga award-winning Cinemalaya films para sa women deprived of liberty sa 3 piitan sa Iloilo City, Pototan, Iloilo at Bacolod City. Ipinapalabas tuwing Linggo at Lunes ngayong buwan ang mga pelikulang Sanglaan ni Milo Sugueco, Mayohan ni Dan Villegas at Paul Santa Ana, Balota ni Kip Oybenda, The Baseball Player ni Carlo Obispo, Pan de Salawal ni Che Espiritu, Utwas at mga handom na nasulat sa baras ni Arlie Sweet Sumagaysay at Richard Jeroe Salvadico at Primetime Mother ni Sonny Calvento. Ngayong National Women's Month, inihahandog ng www.oneflix.com.ph ang channel ng Film Development Council of the Philippines kasama ang Academic Film Society ang seryeng Juana, Women in Spotlight. Tampok ang mga student short films na nagbibigay parangal sa boses ng kababaihan sa pelikula. Mag-log in sa Academedia Online para panoorin ng libre ang mga short films mula March 15 hanggang 29.
Tinesting, sinuri, siniyasan. Ang resulta? Super effective ang Shield sa pagpatay ng bakterya at virus. Shield Antibacterial Soap. Believe ang mga eksperto sa Philippine Nurses Association. At si Mami.
Tiwala ako sa Shield.
Shield Antibacterial Soap. Napatunayang mabisa. Ang mga nurse, tiwala.
Hello, Washi! Laundry day na naman!
Yay! Anong meron?
Mancha ng chocolate, putik, may libag pa!
Kaya natin yan! With Pride Washing Machine Detergent, may triple stain-away formula. Tanggal ang makapit, madikit, at malupit na dumit-mancha. Kaya easy-easy ang labada.
Mula noon hanggang ngayon!
All you need is pride. All you need is pride. ACS.
Usapang sining at kultura para sa lahat. Art to Art.
Andito pa rin tayo sa Art to Art at kasama pa rin natin ang speculative fiction writer and international best-selling novelist na si Samantha Sotto Yambao. Samantha, pag-usapan naman natin ang behind the scenes of the publishing process.
Okay.
So once na makuha ng isang publisher ang book mo,
Right.
ano ang mga susunod na hakbang? Gaano kahalaga ang role ng isang literary agent, especially if you want to publish internationally?
Okay.
At sino ang pumipili ng book designer?
Okay. All right. The first step to getting published internationally is to find that literary agent. So that's the first step. Because if you want to be published traditionally, so there are two routes. So you can be published traditionally, or you can independently publish your book, which I did with some of my novels. So for that, you can do that on your own. But if you want to be traditionally published, especially amongst the bigger publishers, they will not look at your book unless it's an agent who pitches the novel to them. So you have to find an agent first, and when you look for an agent, it's parang kang nag-a-apply ng job. Because they choose you, you don't choose them.
Yeah.
Although luckily with Watermoon, I had many agent offers. So that was a new experience for me that I got to choose for the first time, because I switched agents.
I see. Okay.
I had an original agent whom I worked with for 10 years or so with my previous books. But since Watermoon was really a different kind of book than the previous ones, I parted ways with my original agent, and I search for a new one, because this one, when I gave it to my agent, it was with her for 1 year, pero I guess it was the pandemic, so hindi siya masyadong na-prioritize. So after that year, I decided, okay, let's part ways, because we don't have the same priorities, but we're still friends,
Yeah.
It was a very amicable parting. So she is a strong supporter of mine, and we're good.
Okay, that's good. That's good to
that's
know.
all good. So I moved on to another agent, and what happens next is that the agent will now work with you to get your novel ready for submission, which means that, if there are any editing, that has to be done, they'll help you through that, or they'll give you suggestions, and you have to edit your book again, revise, until you're all happy with it, and they go on submission. And that means the agent will now, based on a list of publishers, they will now pitch this book to the different editors on that list. And you just cross your fingers na lang. Like my agent was saying, so do you want regular updates? Or do you just want to know at the end of the process? And I said, consider me in a medical coma. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I just want to know when it's done. Because I've had, like Love and Gravity, it almost died on submission, right? And I knew that was a possibility, right? Things can happen really fast, and things can happen really slowly, or things can not happen at all. Yeah. So I knew everything. And I said, okay, spare me the drama. I don't want to know. Just let me know. Like, I don't want to know when the rejections come in and things like that. But in the case of Watermoon, it happened really, really fast. As in, like, the next day, I got a preempt offer. So that's what can happen. So when you go on submission, there are several things that can happen. One is that you get rejected, of course. 2 is that they'll make you an offer. Or 3, you can go on auction, right? And since Watermoon was getting multiple offers from different publishers quite fast, we were going to go to auction that week.
Wow. That week right away?
Yes.
Okay.
And I spoke with the different publishers via Zoom to discuss what their plans were. And I was like, is this happening? I was like, what is going on? And there was a publisher who made a preempt. And a preempt means, like, take this offer, but you will have to pull out of the auction. So you cannot offer it anymore to others.
I see.
And we went back and forth with the publisher. Of course, my agent is wonderful at doing all the negotiations. And we finally agreed on an offer. I think it was maybe 4 a.m. our time. Maybe 2 days maybe 2 days into the whole submission process. So completely unexpected. So I get this call from her, and I said, should I be sitting down? Although I was lying down because it was so should I be sitting down? She goes, yeah, go sit down. So I left the bedroom and I went to the sala and I sat down. I said, okay, what is it? This is the offer. And then she told me, I was like, oh my gosh, no coffee needed that day, right? So that's the next part of the process. So when you accept an offer, so you now start to work with your editor. They'll give you their editorial notes, basically little things that they want you to fix in the book, and you work on those edits. You can go through, up to 3 drafts maybe. So it's back and forth. So you're really gonna get sick of your own book by the time. Like, I'm never gonna read this thing again, right? So after once you're all happy, you have the final manuscript. It then goes to a copy editor. and who that person will like really check everything from if it's a historical novel, they'll check all the historical details, everything. Like with this one, she was checking like I think there was a detail about what time he arrived in Tokyo from LA. Was there a flight at the time? Things like that. So down to the nitty gritty. That's
Wow,
what the
pati pala yun,
exactly.
no?
That's what the
Okay.
copy editor will do, right? And they'll make sure that you're not making any of these kinds of mistakes. And then after maybe 2 rounds of that, then you go into proofreading. Okay, so the proofreader will read it, and then you will sign off or do any corrections necessary, and then that's the only time it will go into production. So it's a very long process, back and forth, and then while this is happening, you were asking about the book design. The book designer will be briefed, or they will read the novel, and based on the vibe and things that they get from it, they'll create this design brief for an artist who will then execute their idea for the book.
So it doesn't go straight to the artist. It
No.
goes to
So there's a lot of steps, and then
I
when
see.
we're happy with everything, then that's when the artist will be involved. Yeah.
Wow. And we heard that Water Moon is now on its 3rd printing.
Yes.
Congratulations.
yes. That's great. My agent, when our editor told us that,
Yeah.
we were shocked because we got news of the 3rd printing on the 3rd week.
Yeah.
So basically, it was reprinting every week since the time it was published, and like it was going out of stock in Barnes and Noble and Target, like all over in the Philippines also.
Yeah.
My agent said that's never happened to any of my clients before.
Yeah.
So that was something new for her, and definitely new for me.
Okay, when we talk about a 2nd printing or 3rd printing, how many books are we talking about?
I can't say,
Okay.
but I'm happy.
Okay.
But maybe not enough because we're still out of stock in Manila. So maybe they should print more.
So out of stock ito sa Manila?
Right
Oh,
now, as of
wow.
this taping,
Okay.
yes. They've ordered twice, but I think it's such a magical book that now you see it, now
No,
you
you don't. It disappears.
Happy
Okay.
problem maybe.
So what determines the process of ordering like a reprinting? It's basically the sales.
Yeah,
no?
so they will see the demand for the book. The first printing will be based on, of course, like there are reviewers, right? And then these initial reviews, they're shown to the booksellers, and based on the booksellers will of course read the book as well, and they'll put in their initial order. So that's all factored into the initial run.
I see.
Right. And then after that, it's really consumer offtake na, like to see how fast it's going off the shelves, if there's out of stock situations, how fast we can, like how much we need to print this time around. So that's what
I
happened.
see. Okay. Well, based on sa naging post mo, Water Moon is the 6th book.
It's my 6th
you've
book.
written.
Yes, but not the 6th book published. Because only 5 books are out in the world. The other one is an organ donor to all the other books. So it lives on.
Was that your second
That was the
book?
second
Yeah,
one.
you were talking about earlier.
But it was
I see.
extremely boring, so I have no hard feelings. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
But the prettiest parts live on. It has donated itself. The best parts of itself are in all the succeeding books.
I see.
So
But,
I'm
but
okay.
wait, is it true that you told yourself that this was going to be your last one?
Yes, because I also believe that rejection is redirection, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so I felt like I was going to give this my best shot. As I said earlier about, I didn't want to quit. But I also believe that sometimes things aren't for you, right? Sometimes you really have to make a go, give your best shot, and then see where God is calling you, right? You have to figure out. And sometimes that's reinvention, redirection, reinvention. And so I said, I will give my all to this book, and let's see what happens. Like, this will really be in God's hands, and let Him decide what's next for me. Because I didn't start out as a writer as well. I started out in marketing. I had 10 years of my life in marketing. And so, and when I wrote this, I was pushing 50. I said, okay, let's give this my best shot. I'm not just gonna quit because, and go out with a whimper. Let's see where it goes, and then decide now what is the next chapter of my life as I enter my 50s.
I see. Pero, well, ngayon na, syempre, sobrang successful itong your 6th book.
Yes.
Right? baka naman magbabago pa yung isip mo. May susunod na bang like idea or
It's finished.
is there a new novel?
It's finished.
Oh, the new novel is finished
Yeah,
already.
they're working on the cover design now. I've seen the brief already, so it's
okay.
very exciting.
So this is your 7th?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
So it's I actually finished the edits yesterday. So
Okay.
that's why the aura of relief. Because it was actually contracted. That was part of my book deal. This is a 2-book deal. So, but it's a standalone, so it has nothing to do with Water Moon, but it's the same genre. And so I'll be sending that out, let it marinate for a few days and then revisit it. And then in the next few days, I'll be sending it to my editor and yeah.
Well, fantastic. Okay, well, para sa mga aspiring authors na nanonood ngayon, lalo na yung mga dumadaan sa sarili nilang struggles in publishing, what's one advice that you wish someone gave you nung nagsisimula ka pa lang?
Well, I would say the less you know after sharing all those things about publishing, but I think sometimes the less you know, the better. Only because you don't want to have too many voices in your head.
Okay.
The only voice you really need to listen to is yourself, right? You have to be true to the story that's inside of you, and that's your only obligation to bring it to life. Because if you put everything else ahead of it, you'll get so much anxiety, because if you look at the statistics of how many people get an agent and then how many people ultimately get published, that can be disheartening. But a good story will find its way into the world. I truly, truly believe that. And this is proof of that, write a good book, it will find its way, it will find its audience.
Yeah.
And so the only way to write a good book is just to follow your instincts, follow your heart. Don't write to trends, because the trend that you're writing to today, like maybe what's uso is mermaids or dragons or whatever, by the time your book comes out, hindi na siya uso.
Hindi na siya uso.
Diba? Because it takes so long. Like I told you about the process, right? From the minute they buy your book, that's like 2 years down the road pa before you will see it on shelf. So it's useless to factor all of those into your writing. It's really much better to just listen to your instinct and go where your heart takes you. So I think that's really the advice that I would give writers. Like, don't get stuck with the whole village of voices in your head. Just listen to your heart.
Yeah, And of course, keep on writing.
And of course, yes.
Keep on writing.
Don't give up. Don't give up.
Yan din ang sinasabi ko sa mga dance students. Just keep on dancing.
Keep on dancing.
Oh, it's gonna work.
Yeah, and for the joy of it.
Yeah,
For the joy of it.
Okay. Well, is there a book tour in store for Water Moon?
Well, actually, now that I have finished the second book, I can start to accept.
Okay.
I've turned down a few events because that was my priority, But I have some coming up. I don't want to say the dates yet because a lot of it depends on the stock situation.
Yes,
I was supposed to
that's
have
true.
some earlier, but since there were stock outs, it was
Okay.
like kind of pointless to do book signing. So
Oo nga.
I'll just announce that as it develops.
Yeah, okay. But actually, that was my next question, is saan makakabili ng Water Moon?
Right. In the Philippines, fully booked and National Bookstore.
Okay.
Right. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Okay.
The stocks are there, yes. So in the Philippines, fully booked the National Bookstore.
At kung mayroon kang tita or
Oh, yeah, pwede
relatives
pabili.
sa abroad, ipabili nyo na lang
Pabili na.
sa Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, Barnes or Amazon.
Or Amazon
delivers to the
yes.
Philippines.
Okay. All right. Samantha, maraming salamat
you
sa
so much.
pagdalaw mo muli sa aming programa. And of course, congratulations again
Thank you so
on the
much.
success of Water Moon.
Thank
and we
you.
wish you all the best.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Hanggang sa susunod na linggo, samahan ninyo kami ulit dito sa Art to Art, kung saan ang usapang sining at kultura ay para sa lahat. Ito po ang inyong balerina ng bayan, Lisa Macuja Elizalde, nagpupugay sa artistang Pilipino.